I'm Pam Carr from Caraway Crochet, and I'm excited today to show you how to make a t-shirt, crochet t-shirt poncho. And this is the one I made, the first one I made, and I'm going to show you how you can do this. There's several different options that you can use depending on what tools you've got. Okay, so join me today in today's tutorial. Hi there. So first of all, I thought I would talk about the materials that that you should use when you're making your t-shirt poncho. I live on a very small island, and we have one thrift store, and it had very little choice in having a graphic design t-shirts, and there were actually no extra large, double extra large. This one was a large, and I got this thinking because I wear a large that this would work okay. The first mistake about this is that it's 100% polyester. So if you're wanting to sew in a running stitch along the edge to attach your crochet to, I couldn't get the needle and thread to go through at the side, so I had to go to a rotary cutter to get my perforated little holes to crochet in the side. And the other thing was cutting it. I cut it with the scissors just fine. So, but I would recommend that you don't get 100% polyester because it's really hard to make those little holes to attach your side pieces to. So what I suggest is like this other t-shirt that I bought. I don't even know if I'm going to make this one because I was disappointed with how short the first one I made was. But this is, I thought, would make a really nice shirt. This is, once again, is a large, but it's 100% cotton. So I was going to initially show everybody how to do running stitches all the way down the side, like 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch running stitches all the way down the side with a yarn, and then you could crochet onto those, and that would avoid you having to get yourself a rotary cutter like I did. I bought this one off Amazon. It was very cheap. It's an Amaze Wart, and it has all the different cutters. I had to change it to this one for cutting all the little holes, and I couldn't find Amaze Wart on YouTube, but another rotary cutter showed me how to change the blade. It just involved turning this at the back and getting the blade out and changing it. So I might do a video about how to change a blade on an Amaze Wart rotary cutter later, but not now. So yeah, so I ended up having to use this on my 100% polyester shirt poncho that I made yesterday. But I thought, well, I'm just going to try and see, because another thing I've seen people doing is that they will go down this edge of their shirt, and you can punch little holes in with a very small crochet hook. This is a 2.5 millimeter crochet hook, and if you watch, you can see how I can just push. You have to push quite hard, but it does go through, and you can make holes if you wanted to use that as a means of attaching your crochet. You would just cut the sides and then go up the side and keep on punching holes through with your little crochet hook. I did try sewing into this 100% cotton to see if I could do the running stitches, but when I took my hook, my needle, because you need quite a sharp pointed needle, and my yarn needles unfortunately are quite thick like this and dull at the ends, right? So I did have one that could hold the yarn that's quite pointed, but when I tried to pull it through here, even though I've punched a hole with my crochet hook, it's still really hard to actually pull it through. You can do it though. And so if you didn't want to use a rotary cutter, you could try just going up the sides of each side of your poncho and pulling through your yarn like this. But it takes a lot more work. But I just want to give you an alternative. If you don't have the money to turn around and buy yourself a rotary cutter, you can do this. So how you would do this was, once you have cut your sides down each side, you would just go up from the bottom over the shoulder and down the other side, doing a running stitch like this, and then you could crochet into these stitches. Okay, so that's an alternative that you could try. Another thing was, when I was watching other people making these ponchos, I saw them coming down and running at an angle, because on my shirt it seemed to flare, and I got quite an angle, and I don't really know that I would do that again on this style of a shirt, and I'll demonstrate to you what I mean. You see, this is really quite a geometrical shaped graphic. And so what's happened is when I get down to the bottom, you see this flare happening here. And I think it would have looked much nicer if I'd have just gone straight down here. Can you see that? Straight down here from the arm sleeve, just gone straight down like this. And then my sides would not be flaring. These are the kind of mistakes you make when you're just starting out. So for this one, when I'm going to, if I was to make this into a poncho, I would just go from the sleeve up here. It's hard to get you to make sure you're seeing this. From the sleeve here, I would just go straight down to the bottom, this way. Straight down to the bottom. And then I would work up from there and across and down. I hope that's not too much information, but those were the learning lessons that I had. Number one, use cotton or maybe a cotton blend, but not 100% polyester because you cannot pierce holes in it. And if you get a rotary cutter, that really makes cutting out quick and easy. And it also makes you able to change the blade and do your perforated stitches. Now these are the colors I used. This one, the teal, this cafe latte color, and also a creamy white. So those are the colors I use. So I'm going to now start the tutorial. So here's a t-shirt that I'm going to use to make my t-shirt poncho. And I'm having to hand hold this because I can't get up high enough to show you the whole shirt, okay? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to cut down on the inside of the arm and taper it out to the corner down here, okay? And I'm going to do that on both sides. So we're going to be cutting from the top down the side of the arm and then taper it down until you get to the bottom corner. All right, so that's where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to do this with the scissors for this one. These aren't the sharpest scissors, but I thought I'd do a video where you can just do it with home, everything that you've got at home, and everybody's usually got a pair of scissors. So here we are, I'm going right down and I'm just cutting all the way down. I want to make sure you can see. Down to the corner. Like this. So that's one side, and then you can see I've got the sleeve here and I've got the side of the t-shirt. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to flip it over. I'll lay it this way so you can see it. Maybe you can see it better this way. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting down from the shoulder up here, and I'm cutting down. Let's lay it straight and get the seams, match up their seams, lay it out straight. Then you start your cutting up here and you go right down, right along the seam of the sleeve. And then when you hit here and you're going to curve into the underarm, just carry on straight at an angle, right down until you come to the far corner at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start the other one now. Lay it out. Make sure your side seam is flat. And then I'm starting up at this corner where the sleeve is. I'm going right down the side of the sleeve seam. And then when I get to about here, I'm going to start angling it down to the far corner. Pull it up. Just have an imaginary line going down to the corner. There we go. So here it is, laid out. And you can see you've got this nice two sides that we're going to be working with. Okay, so this is one of the colors I've chosen to make my sides with. Here's some of the others. I'm wondering about putting the blue in because there's a teal blue in the shirt. So I might do the teal blue. And I've got a creamy white, and I've got this one too. So we'll see which ones I end up using, but for the sides, I'm going to use this one. So I've got this rotary cutter. I've never used one before. I just had to change the blade, and I needed to actually look it up on YouTube as to how to change the blade, but it's got the blade in now that's meant to make the little holes, okay? And I started at the bottom, and I'm now just going up. I'm going to be keeping it about 1/4 of an inch in all the way up. And then pulling it down and doing the last little bit, okay? Look closely, you can see all those little holes there that you can crochet into, okay? So I'm going to go and do that on the other side, and then we'll be ready to get going on the poncho. So here I am. I'm going to start with my first single crochet. I'm using a 5mm hook here, an H hook, a 5mm hook. I'm just going to, I made a slip knot, and now I'm going in and I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to just go into each of these little slits that you can see, and I'm going to make a single crochet like that. Okay, so you're going to go all the way up the side of your t-shirt and all the way down the back, and we're going to do single crochets, and I'll join you when I'm finished. So here I am at the first row of single crochets into each of those little holes. So I worked all the way down, and I made sure that I have all multiples of 3. So it's exactly multiples of 3. And then to turn, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to chain 3. You can just jiggle your stitches to make sure you've got multiples of 3. Mine came out exactly at multiples of 3, so that was lucky. So now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to double crochet into the third single crochet. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to double crochet right into there, and then that acts as 2 double crochets. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then after 1, 2 stitches, and into this next stitch we are going to do 3 double crochets, and that's called a cluster or a shell. 2 and 3, and then we're going to skip 2. We're setting up for the granny stitch here, so we're going to skip 2 stitches, and into that third one we're going to do 3 double crochets. And we're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the next one we're going to do 3 double crochets. And we're going to go all the way along like that, skipping 2 and then 3 double crochet into the next one until we get to the end, and I'll see you at the end. Here I am. I've been doing a cluster, skipping 2 stitches, a cluster, skipping 2 stitches, a cluster. So now I'm at the end. I'm going to skip there's 2 stitches here. If you have 1, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that in the end, on the last stitch, you do 2 double crochets. Okay, just going to do 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and now we're going to change our color, and for the next row we're going to chain 3 and put 3 double crochets in each of these spaces. So I'm just going to change the color. This I'm just going to fasten off and attach the yarn that way. going to fasten it off, and then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to reattach my yarn with a slip, just go in with there, with a slip stitch like that, and then I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to go into that first space and I'm going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. I think this color will tie in nicely with the rust and the teal that we can see in here. So that's why I chose to do the teal here. And do 3 in the next one. I'm not putting a chain 1 in between. I'm just doing 3 double crochet. If you want to do a chain 1 in between your clusters, because that's your preference, you can do that. With my tension, it seems to work really well just to keep doing 3 double crochets in each one of those spaces all the way across until the next one. This is exciting. Can't wait to see what this looks like. Okay, here we go. Here we are at the end of the row, and what we're going to do, we've just done 3 double crochet cluster into that one, and now we're going to crochet into the top of this chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a double crochet in there. Okay. And now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to put 1 double crochet into the same space as this chain 3. So we've got the chain 3, and we're going to go right into there, and we're going to do a double crochet into there. Okay? And now we're going to skip over that cluster, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, let's get hold of it properly, and 3. And then we're going to go into the next one, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into that space. 1, 2, and 3. Until we get down to the end, and when we get down to the end, we're going to do 2 double crochets into the top of this there. Oh, this one right there. Okay, so I'm going to go away and work on this, but this is what it's looking like so far. Let's have a bit of a check it out. So this is what it's looking like. All right, so it's starting to grow. Here we are at the end of our 3rd row, and we are going to do 2 double crochets into this last chain 3 here. We can go right into that loop and do it. 2 double crochets. Okay, and I'm actually going to change color here. So I'm going to actually pull this new color in. I think I'm going to go with the white. And I'll pull the new color. Here we go. We're going to pull through the white. It's an ivory color. It's not a pure snowy white. It's a nice, and we're going to chain 3, and then I'm going to tighten up those 2, turn the work, and we're going to be repeating the row 2 that we did before. Turn it all over. We got this long piece to turn, and we're going to be chaining 3 into the first space there. 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to work across, making 3 double crochets into each of these spaces. 1, 2, 3, and this is repeating the row 2. We've done 1, 2, this is 3, 4. So we are going to be repeating the 2 and 3 all the way along. Okay, so this is a repeat of the row 2. We're chaining 3 double crochet clusters into each of these until we get across to the very end. Here we are at the end. 'end. 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 ' And we're going to do 1 double crochet into the end of this for the 2 double crochets. All right, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then when we turn, we are going to go into the same stitch as we had there and do a double crochet. So what you're seeing is you have 2 double crochet at the end of this one, 1 double crochet at the end of this one, 2 double crochet at the end of this one. Okay, so that's going to be the pattern. Okay, and you'll notice at this end it's the same. 2 double crochet at the end of that row, 1 double crochet at the end of that row, 2, and sorry, I think I was off camera there. 2 double crochet at the end of that row, 1 double crochet at the end of that row, 2 double crochet at the end of that row, 1 double crochet at the end of that row. When we come to the end of this next row, we will be putting 2 double crochet into the top of that stitch. So that's how the repeat keeps happening. Okay, so right now what are we going to do? We are going to skip over this one and go into this one to do our 3 double crochet cluster. Right, and you can see how that's making a nice straight line going up the side of our poncho. I'll turn it over so we can see what it looks like with the fabric of the poncho in it. So I think that's going to be a really nice color combo. And I think we're going to pull in, we've got some burgundy, and I've also got a coffee color. So I'm just going to carry on in that pattern for a few more rows until it seems to be wide enough. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Let me see, I think I'm going to go at least another 10 rows. Okay, so I'll see you at the end of 10 rows. While you're working on this pattern, it's up to you. When you change colors, you can do 2 rows, 2 rows, 2 rows, or you can go 2 rows, 1, and then 3. You can do as many rows of each color as you like. That's completely up to you. I'm going to be going 2 rows of each color. I did 1, then I've got 1, 2, and I'm probably going to do 2 of white and 2 of the next color and 2 of the next color. That's going to be the way I do it, but not everybody has to do that. So here is the first side done, and I actually did 17 rows of the double crochet granny stripe stitch, and then 1 row of the single crochet that we started it off with. Okay, so I did a little bit more than 10 rows. This also was a smaller t-shirt, so it was high up on the shoulder. If you have a larger shirt, then you're not going to start the sleeve. It's going to be a drop sleeve, and you might not need to put as many rows in. So you really need to customize it to the t-shirt that you've got and the yarn you're using. So anyway, we're going to get on with the second side. So now I'm going to work on the second side of the poncho. So I'm going to attach my yarn. I'm going to follow the same color pattern that I had before, and just single crochet up each of these little holes in here. Sorry, I love the color of the design on the t-shirt. Another thing, if I was looking again, I would probably go for like a super extra large, just because it's a bit longer. This one isn't very long. So these are all things to bear in mind when you're choosing your thrifted t-shirt. I just went in and got a large, and I probably should have got an extra large. So yes, we're going to work all the way along here, just doing a single crochet stitch into each of the little perforated holes. Okay, and I'll see you at the end. Single crochet, you can just follow the instructions that I had for the other side, and you can be choosing your colors. And yes, that should be easy for you to just go back to the beginning of the video when I did the other side and just follow those instructions. And here's what the poncho looks like when it's got both sides completed. I actually have washed this. I washed it on a delicate cycle in my washing machine and dried it, and all of the stitches held, the little perforations, nothing came loose, and it has a much softer feel to it once you do that. It just makes the fibers relax a little bit, and it drapes more nicely. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm sorry when I went off camera. And thank you for your patience. I hope you enjoy it. Please do subscribe to my channel if you like what you're seeing, and that would be really supportive. Thank you so much.